Hey everyone, wanted to touch base with you this morning, switching gears a little bit from what we've been talking about with the analogy, something that we talked about here at High Street recently, a story of a patient that came back recently. They were a long-time patient and COVID scared them off. So gripped by fear, this patient locked himself in his home for 2 straight months, didn't even leave the house to get groceries, had someone bringing them groceries at the house. And their body starts falling apart. He comes in for a visit and he and his partner come in like 2, 3, 4 times and they can't handle the stress. They can't handle the anxiety of being in public during COVID. And so they lock themselves back up in the house. They don't leave again until here recently. They come back a couple of weeks ago and is just in complete shambles. Their body has completely fallen apart. I wrote down some of the things on the exam form that they told me. They've had multiple surgeries. They're on their 3rd knee surgery in the past year. They're walking with a cane at home, cannot extend or completely flex their knee, headaches and migraines every single day, constantly getting Botox injections. They're on prescription medications for this. The quote that I wrote down was, "Everything in my body hurts all the time." This is a patient that's 38 years old. So effectively my age, and has allowed their life to completely be shut down and allowed their body to completely shut down because they are afraid, because they are operating out of fear. And I'm sitting here in this exam and I'm thinking and talking to this person and I'm thinking, how much life has been lost? Like, what quality of life does this person have? I'm not like the perfect picture of health, but we're essentially the same age, and I body slam people twice my size for a living. And I go home and my son runs and jumps at me and I catch him, and we play soccer on the weekend and all this kind of stuff. Like, think about some of the things you're gonna do this weekend and think about how that would be impacted if you were living in this condition. And going back to kind of what Don and Tyler had mentioned at the end of their education videos, like, the analogies we use are great. The science and the data that we use is awesome, but it doesn't actually mean anything unless we can form a connection, a meaningful connection, to impart new information, to realign someone's perception, to create the urgency as a call to action, to create a behavioral change. Because outside of these walls, they're being inundated by other medical providers, their family, their friends. Hey, this is all genetic. Hey, everything is out to get you. Your body's falling apart. There's germs and bugs and viruses everywhere that you should be afraid. You need to shrink and hide and give up your life now because you're afraid and you're fragile. When we were talking about this at High Street, I just have no tolerance for this idea of I'm a victim to my genetics. I'm a victim to the world around me. You know, my parents, both of them, type 2 diabetes and pill after pill after pill. My mom has a basket full of pills. I'm not subject to any of those genetics. They're subject to the choices in the life that they've created for themselves. I get to create my own fucking life. I get to do whatever I want to. I'm not a victim. I get to be in control of the choices and the things that happen to me. That's what life is. Like, don't allow other people to take this shit away from you. Finding some way to get people to push against the grain of these things they're being inundated with constantly to create a meaningful change. Like, this is not about making sure your education is on point and getting the perfect analogy. It's about changing someone's ability to live. In this case, in my opinion, essentially saving someone's life. So we've got a couple of basic analogies for this week, a couple of education points, but I want to reinstill the idea that we need to be using conversation and using education to equip our patients to make meaningful, authentic, long-lasting change in their life, so they're not where this patient is at my age. So they're not where this patient is heading for the next 10 to 20 years. Be intentional, be focused, be present with your patients. Their lives are literally depending on it.